Hello, dear students. Let's start part 2 from the chapter 2 stories about flying, and that is The Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Forsyth. Dear children, in this story, we are going to study about the black aeroplane which was seen by the narrator in the sky when he was flying his own aeroplane. So, let's start the story. The moon was coming up in the east. Here, the narrator tells us that the moon, as it was the time of night, so the moon was in the east direction behind him. Behind me means behind him. It means the author is going from east direction to towards west direction. Okay, and stars were shining in the clear sky. As the sky was clear, there were no clouds, so the stars were twinkling there. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone. And we know that there the author was totally alone. Nobody was with him. And he was above the sleeping countryside. Now, sleeping countryside means he's talking about the city Paris as he's flying his aeroplane above the city. Okay. And it is night time, so everyone in the city was sleeping. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England, and he's flying his old Dakota aeroplane. Dakota is the name of that aeroplane, and it is old. Over France back to England. और वो कहाँ जा रहे हैं? France से कहाँ जा रहे हैं? England जा रहे हैं. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to. Now, dear students, looking forward to is an expression which means, waiting happily. To wait happily, and he's waiting happily to meet his family. All right, I looked at my watch. That time he looked at his watch, 1:30 in the morning, and the time was 1:30 a.m. It was morning time, though we call it morning, but generally at 1:30 there is dark. Okay, I should call Paris control soon. Paris control, the control room of aeroplane. Okay, he thought that he should call that control room. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. And as I saw, looked down past the nose of the aeroplane. यानी कि aeroplane के सामने वाले हिस्से से जैसे उन्होंने नीचे देखा. I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. What he saw? Lights, because it was night time and there were lights in the city which were shining. I switched on the radio and said, so he switched on that radio. Generally, there is a radio in the aeroplane, and through that, the pilot they contact to the control room. Okay, and he said, Paris control Dakota DS 088 here. It is the number of the aeroplane. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. And he told them, the narrator says that he told them that he is going to England. The voice from the radio answered. Then he heard the answer from that radio. Immediately means at once, turant. ठीक है? DS 088, what he heard? DS 088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS 088 over. Now, what did the radio say? The radio said that you ought to. Dear students, ought to is a modal verb. Okay, especially used to express moral duty. When we express moral duty, we use the modal verb ought to. And here, the person from the control room tells the pilot that he ought to turn 12 degrees. Means he should take 12 degrees, okay, with his aeroplane. And towards which direction? West direction. Okay. I checked the map and the compass. Then he checked the map which was kept there in the aeroplane, and also the compass, okay, which shows him direction. All right. Then switched over to my second and last fuel tank. Now he just took the last fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. Then he turned 12 degrees, and towards which direction? Towards England, that was towards west direction. Okay, all right. I will be in time for breakfast, I thought. Now he thought to himself. What he thought? I will be in time, यानी कि वो टाइम से पहुंच जाएंगे अपने घर ब्रेकफास्ट करने के लिए. A good big English breakfast. And what is in his mind about the breakfast of his house, his home? The big English, because he belongs to England. So he's talking about English breakfast. Okay. Everything was going well. And he says that सब कुछ सही चल रहा था. It was an easy flight, and he thought that it is very easy flight as he was going to his home. Paris was about 150 kilometer behind me. Now it means he has completed 150-kilometer journey. Okay. When I saw the clouds, then he saw clouds in front of him. Storm clouds, and those clouds were like storm clouds, यानी कि ऐसे clouds थे वो जो क्या लाते हैं, तूफान लाते हैं. They were huge, and the size of the cloud was huge. Huge means very big. Okay, enormous, बहुत ज़्यादा बड़े बड़े थे. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky, and he compares them. Here the narrator has used the literary device simile, because here he is comparing those clouds with the mountains, black mountains. Okay, with the help of the word like. So he saw them. They were as big as mountains. I knew I could not fly up and over them. Then he thought to himself that it is not possible for him to fly up. उनके ऊपर से निकलना उसके लिए मुश्किल होगा. And I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north to or south. And he could not turn his direction, because if he would turn towards north, what will happen? He will he will not be able to get the proper fuel for his aeroplane, because already he has used the third tank. All right. I ought to go back to Paris. Then he thought to himself, क्या करना चाहिए उसको? Ought to. He should go back to Paris, I thought. But I wanted to get home. सोचा नरेटर ने, पायलट ने, कि मैं वापस जाऊं, बट फिर अपने घर की तरफ सोचता है. But I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. He thought about his home breakfast. I will take the risk, I thought. Then he thought he should take risk. Means he should fly over those clouds. And flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. So what did he do? He just took his aeroplane into those clouds. यानी कि उन clouds के अंदर लेके चले जाते हैं, जो क्या थे? Storm clouds थे. All right. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. As soon as he entered into the clouds, he saw that everything fell. How? Black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane, and he was unable to see anything outside the aeroplane. Aeroplanes के बाहर उनको सिर्फ black दिख रहा था. Everything was black. He could not see the direction. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. And what happened suddenly? His aeroplane jumped. It took a jump and twisted, turned in the air. हवा में पलटना, यानी कि एरोप्लेन हवा में पलटने लगा जंप लेके. I looked at the compass. Then he looked at the compass, which shows direction in the aeroplane. I couldn't believe. Means he couldn't believe. What he couldn't believe? Let's see. Move on to the next page. And here you can see the picture of the narrator, Frederick, and outside also, which is looking black, and the clouds are really as high as mountains. All right. Then the compass was turning round and round. What he saw that compass was also turning round and round. गोल गोल घूमे जा रहा है. It was dead, because the compass was not working. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead. The compass didn't work, and the other instruments kept in the aeroplane, that also suddenly they were dead. I tried the radio. Then again he tried to the radio. He wanted to send message. Paris control, Paris control. He said, Paris control, Paris control. Can you hear me? There was no answer. There was no answer. Why? Do you know why was there no answer? Because his compass has stopped working. And I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. And then the narrator, he lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. Suddenly he saw that there was near him where he was flying his aeroplane, he saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but without light. यानी कि जनरली जब एरोप्लेन आसमान में उड़ते हैं तो रात को उनके विंग्स पे लाइट चमकती है, but that aeroplane had no light. But I could see it flying next to me through the storm. But he could see that aeroplane. उसने देखा कि वो जो एरोप्लेन था वो बिल्कुल उनके नेक्स्ट टू मतलब बगल में, beside, it was flying. Okay. I could see the pilot's face. He could see the face of the pilot turned towards me, and the pilot was, looking towards the narrator. I was very glad to see. Glad means happy, extremely happy. He became happy to see. Then what happens? He lifted one hand and waved. The pilot, which was in that another aeroplane, he lifted one hand. उन्होंने अपना एक हाथ उठाया and waved. Waved means he moved his hand to give a signal. Okay. He moved his hand, हाथ हिलाया एक signal देने के लिए. Follow me, he was saying. Follow me. And what did he say? The pilot say, follow me. मतलब मेरे पीछे आओ. Follow me. He knows that I am lost because the pilot knows that the narrator had lost. I thought he is trying to help me. The narrator thought the man who was in another aeroplane, he was helping him. So, dear students, that's all for today. The rest of the text we will discuss in our next class. Till then, thank you.